Hello, and thanks for checking out another video. Today I'm back with another book I just finished this weekend, which is Imminent, Inside the Pentagon Search for UFOs by Luis Elizondo. So this is a book, again, I think I probably saw the recommendation on Reddit that the book was coming out, put the library loan in, and right when the book was released, my local library got a copy on Libby. So I quickly sped through it over a couple days over the weekend, and it was really good. So if you don't know Luis Elizondo, he is a former Pentagon official, so he has a military background, and he worked on the government's investigation of UAPs slash UFOs. So the book is his story of his time in the military, in the Department of Defense, getting recruited through a very interesting story of how he was recruited to one program and that kind of led to another program. One early thing in his life story we talked about is the need to keep an open mind about things, which is it's a great way to kind of live your life. And he makes reference later to when he's hiring analysts to have that open mind, to be able to look at data from another standpoint and just basically to question the world around you. Don't take things at face value. As we get into his life story, where he is kind of on the career trajectory going from program to program, he eventually ends up spearheading the government's investigation into UAPs, specifically kind of tracing down being the detectives on reported phenomenon. And that's how he frames a lot of the conversation and a lot of the evidence that he presents in the book is that these are eyewitness accounts from verified sources. These are United States pilots, trained military personnel that are reporting these. And the government covers it up, and there's a big stigma in the government to not report these. And that's one key takeaway I took from this. Besides the mountains of evidence, I, of course, read the New York Times front page article where the government finally disclosed that. That was Elizondo's work, where he got the videos disclosed and open to the public. But one of the key takeaways was getting rid of the stigma. And once that stigma was finally gone, it exponentially started increasing the number of reportings that our military service men and women are reporting. So early he talks about, the past history of the military, that you don't report these things, that it's a career killer, it's a desk, you become a desk jockey if you're an Air Force pilot and you report something that you can't explain, that's a UFO slash UAP, unidentified anomalous phenomenon now. So by reducing the stigma, that the pilots are reporting more, and then we're just basically going to have more data points going forward. So that was, if nothing else, that his work has started to, by presenting to the public, it's reducing the stigma, putting it out in the open through the New York Times article, and now through this book, where he's, like the title says, it's imminent. The disclosure is imminent. The fact that the government is flip-flopping on, not flip-flopping, but coming to terms with what they have been covering up until this point, it really kind of makes you, again, question more of what else do they know. And in the book, he talks about what he can talk about, which is interesting itself. The fact that this book went through a year of revisions before it was finally released. There's a lot of redacted stuff still in the book. He comes across as a very patriotic person because he frames it in the sense of national security. One of the quotes he mentions more than once is, if any of these reportings had a Russian or a Chinese tail flag or a North Korean tail flag on the vehicle, it would instantly be investigated with utmost importance by someone senior in the military. But the fact that we have some unidentified object over our most sensitive military installations and no one investigates it, no one wants to take this up, that alone, the admission of any threat is telling itself that either there's a big cover-up going on or it's some reason why you wouldn't treat this as a national security threat. So by framing it in that way, it does come across as not some crazed lunatic like Ancient Aliens, which again, I think through this book you kind of also understand. He does early in the book lay out that there are patterns, that we've seen kind of things before, and now that we're getting a better understanding of things, people may have interpreted the past through allegory because they didn't have that frame of reference. That's why certain things may be described the way they were. But now that we're becoming more understanding of the world around us, maybe things we saw in the past need to be re-examined. But that's a bit of a tangent. He does mention that, but the crux of the book is his time in the military and how the government is kind of ignoring this national security threat. But through these disclosures, through the destigmatization of UAPs and all they represent, that the public and the government itself is more open to it. There are task force now formed. There's disclosure reports now formed. And the public is coming around and the government is coming around. And as the title says again, disclosure is imminent. I really hope in my lifetime that we will see something. I think that's a common, hope for people that are fans of sci-fi or fantasy, that you do think there's something maybe off with the way the cover-up's happening, that there may be more that meets the eye to a lot of these phenomena, a lot of these reports. So I suggest to check out. It's a quick, fun read. Really interesting if you're interested at all. A fan of X-Files or Fringe like I was myself. I watched X-Files in the 90s, Fringe in the 2000s. Great shows that kind of open your mind. And again, now you think, was there more to reach the eye to all these early, old-timey stories? But anyways, the book was Imminent, Inside the Pentagon Search for UFOs, UAPs. Recommend to check it out. Probably give it 4 out of 5 stars. It was a great read, not the best I've ever read, but as far as enjoyment factor, I really enjoyed the read. And I really enjoyed the story and hearing his story about everything he's accomplished in his lifetime so far. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.